Uh-oh. Am I flexing on you with my Costco sweatpants? Friendship ended with the West Edmonton Costco. Leduc Costco is now my best friend. Oh no, you can still see the white paint on my blazer a little bit from when I painted my face. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna move over here. Wait, no, he's usually on this. Wait, no, this side? Is it this side? Right, we're gonna go like this. Little Blaha shark. There, you can be there. And then I'm gonna put a video of the spiral thing because I don't know how to put it behind me and... Wait, hold on. I can do this over Zoom. Oh my god. Okay, is it recording? Oh my god, it is. So he's usually on, on this side. Hold on. Where's Unus? Unus is usually here, right? Yeah. Okay, what do they... Shoot, I forgot what they say. Oh my god. Unus Annus. God, this has to be one of the worst intros I have ever filmed. I'm not really sure how to style this. Shout out to Second City Prince for like the awesome bandana. I feel like I'm definitely channeling my Ukrainian heritage today. So yeah, this is what we're going with. This is the only piece of merch that I have that's like here. So it's called Fashion Brenda. Look it up. Oh god, this is off to a really bad start. So Unus Annus is dead. As we're recording this, it is the 15th of November, so technically it died a day ago, but it was November 14th at 12 a.m. I've spent the past day, I guess, collecting some of my thoughts and ideas about kind of what just happened, because there's a lot. For anyone that isn't familiar with Unus Annus, it was a channel created by Ethan Nestor, Mark Fischbach, and Amy Nelson. It was created on November 15th of 2019, and the whole premise is that it was going to be deleted in a year, November 14th at 12 a.m. They made up some rules. They couldn't upload the same thing. They couldn't miss a day, so every day there would be a video, and it had to be something new. Both Mark and Ethan run gaming channels, so for them, this was going to be a lot of content that was different than what they were usually making. Before COVID, the idea is that they were going to have guests on, they were going to encourage those guests to make videos and then delete them when the channel came to delete. They were going to do some kind of influencer, YouTuber, meetup, social things. I don't even know how to describe it, but Mr. Beast, if you're planning on picking that up, I would absolutely love to see that. And then do a lot of things that just weren't in their homes. After COVID hit, also known as quarantinus, if I remember the term correctly, everything had to be done from home. So a lot of the videos were over a call. They were either looking at websites, researching some kind of topic that was kind of funny, or they would just be doing some kind of activity that could be done from the comfort of their own homes. Now, post-quarantinus, that's when things started to go back in person, but everything still had to primarily be done from home. I wish I had clips to explain what I'm talking about, because a lot of these things are gonna sound absolutely wild, but they're all gone. And even if I could use clips, it doesn't feel right. It feels like digging up some dead body and then doing some kind of Weekend at Bernie's thing. It's like, no, they're dead. Leave them be. Put the tactical shovel down. I did, however, have some out of context images that I will use because I feel like those are just way too funny to forget. So instead of clips, you know, buckle in and try to guess what happened there, because oh boy. When the first video went up, I saw it the day it went up, and to be completely honest with you, I was a little skeptical. I'm someone who's very sentimental and I like to hold on to everything I do. So the idea of, first of all, deleting all of that hard work, but then also, maybe it's just because I'm looking at it from the business side, but that's bound to have like a lot of ad revenue on it, and it would have collected a bunch more money. So maybe it's just me being cynical, but that for me was really hard to wrap my head around. But the ballsy idea to just delete everything, I absolutely loved it. But then as the channel started to go and the months went on, that's when I started to get around the principle of it a lot more. Now, I would like to preface the rest of this video. Unus Annus, the big focus was that you only have so much time to live, so make use of every second you have. And I think that is a great message. What I want to talk about today, though, is some of the other messages that came from Unus Annus that maybe didn't have as much focus on them that I found super important. But at the end of the day, these are my personal takeaways. These are the things that stood out to me the most about the channel, and everyone's going to take away different things from the channel. So who knows? Maybe I'm pulling some of the stuff out of the middle of nowhere. Sue me. Actually, don't. I am very broke. Since there were 365 days that needed to be filled with videos, there was a lot of opportunity to try some really different things. So for example, Ethan wanted to buy a pressure washer, and that was the video idea, is they bought a pressure washer and that was it. And it may not sound like a super strong video idea, and trust me, the premise, it's an interesting one, but I was able to sit through all of it and I was really entertained. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I get distracted very easily. I click off of videos very easily because I get bored, and they managed to keep me through it the entire time. Just from taking a look at their background, the two of them rely very heavily on improv, and that's something that I believe as a YouTuber, especially as someone who has to focus on things like gameplay, where you have to have a lot of quippy things to keep people interested because there's not a whole lot of heavy editing that can really go into the medium.
Witching! Yes! Witching!
You have to know how to use improv, and you can tell that that shines throughout everything that they do. And for a topic like a pressure washer, you need to have something that makes that interesting. Because 365 days had to be filled with videos, some of those video ideas obviously were not going to be the strongest. They mentioned this during the live stream with their video, how much caffeine does it take to kill a man? But that's not necessarily the point. They weren't going for perfection. They were trying to see if they could do it. They wanted to experiment with some stuff that they wouldn't have been able to do before. And the whole point of the creative process is to experiment, to see what sticks. Unus Annus was a creative space. That's what it was made for. They told us this from the very beginning. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about clout. This was to let them do things they couldn't do before. I am a huge believer in that the best creativity comes from limitations. When you have too much selection, you have the best topics to choose from, the best equipment to choose from, all that fun stuff, it's almost like you have too many choices and it's hard to narrow it down. If you have a limitation, it helps make things more manageable, but also when you have limitations, you have a pressure washer, a backyard, and some camera equipment, you gotta get creative to figure out how that's gonna come together. And that is so important. That's what shines through this channel, because it is so hard to make a 10-minute video with those few things, and a lot of people find that impossible. It takes the right kind of person and the right kind of creativity to make that work. Having limitations gives you the push to think outside the lines, think outside the boundaries, and do something that hasn't been done before. Personally, I think that the post-Quarantinus era is the best one, in my opinion. The whole point of the channel was because it's gonna delete itself, you can literally make whatever you want. Of course, there were some interesting things that came from the quarantine era, but it didn't have as good of a flow. I felt when I got back in person, things became a lot more interesting, but that doesn't remedy the fact that you're stuck at home. You can only go out so often, and you have to get creative with what you have. They have to find ways to keep people interested and keep coming back every day. So that meant some days we got cinematic pieces like Hunting He Who and the Truth About Unus Annus. And sometimes that means we got Sauna. And like, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that Unus Annus, that joke has already been made before. It is dead. And I truly believe that Unus Annus wouldn't have had the same impact as it did if everything had been the way where they were planning at the beginning, where it was going to be a lot more collaborations. They're going to be going out and doing more like going to an escape room, where it's going out and doing things that would usually cost money. A lot of people that want to do creative projects, especially during COVID, either can't go out, they can't afford to be doing something every day where they're spending a lot of money. They want to create something, but it isn't going to be on a big budget necessarily. And I think that having Unus Annus the way it was at the end of its lifespan helped people realize that you don't need a big budget to make things work. You don't necessarily need a lot of famous friends to make things work. You can use whatever you have and you can make something really awesome out of that. Now, when I mention concept, because I am going to be talking about it a lot, what I mean is that you're dedicating yourself to a project for a short period of time, but you're going to be putting a lot of time into that, just like the channel. Anyways, now that I'm done gushing about why Unus Annus is great, now I want to go into why I felt that it was a breath of fresh air that we really needed. Sometimes it feels like YouTube has become a lot more cookie cutter-esque. Sometimes it doesn't feel like the content on the site is pushing boundaries sometimes. A lot of people get pigeonholed into these very specific niches that can feel limiting sometimes. And for some people, that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're getting personal fulfillment from what you're doing and you enjoy what you're doing, that is perfectly fine. It's just that sometimes flexing your wealth every day isn't necessarily pushing it creative-wise. That's just my opinion. And coming from someone who deeply cares about YouTube, who grew up with YouTube, I understand how big of an influence YouTubers can have on people who are still developing. I mean, I used to watch Mark when I was in junior high, and I feel like a lot of his stuff really influenced me. And especially with his philanthropic, I don't think I pronounced that right. Let's look it up. How do you pronounce that here? It's philanthropic, right?
Philanthropic.
Yeah, philanthropic. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, going back to my point, we're gonna go with a different word. Community service. Yeah, let's go with that one. When he was doing like his charity live streams, his volunteering, that kind of stuff, I felt like that was a very big influence for me to give back to my community. Of course, it's not going to be the only thing. There was a lot of outside factors that also came into that. But when I was at an age where not a whole lot of my peers were talking about volunteers and that kind of stuff, it was a big push for me. Now, I know there's a lot of young people that log onto YouTube and they kind of watch whatever's recommended to them. That's how YouTube works. And I mean, anything can get recommended. It's just like a real mixed bag of anything. And I know there's a lot of people that were watching Unus Annus that were really young. Now, I don't want to sound like one of those boomers that's like, oh my God, everything's terrible. The phones are trying to kill us. The youth are being tormented by technology. But sometimes when you're constantly being bombarded with messages of YouTube is some kind of get-rich-quick scheme, and if you're not making tons of money within the first month of uploading, you're doing it wrong, that can be really discouraging, and I feel like it takes away from the whole premise of YouTube. A lot of people get their hopes up that it's something really easy to do. And I mean, YouTubers back in my day, which, oh God, that makes me, I'm not that old. I promise I'm not that old. They used to tell us, look, if you're gonna actually try to take this seriously, you better be in that 0.01% of creators, because that other 99% aren't gonna make it. And like, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from taking on some kind of creative project like YouTube and kind of just say, yep, you're not gonna make it. But it's something that you do have to face if this is something you're considering. But then the other thing is, a lot of things almost turn into a competition where you have to be the best at it, or if you aren't the best at it, it's just not worth it to try. And I feel like Unus Annus was a great example of an experimentation period. Experimentation is a part of the creative process, and you can't get good at something without practicing it. And I think that it showed that there's no shame in trying new things. There's no shame in learning things from what you're doing. Maybe you're not the best at it, but as long as you're having fun, that's really all that matters. And as well, they weren't measuring their success with fun, money, or fame. This was just them having fun. This was them having a creative project, and they were very happy and satisfied when they ended. I think that's a very important message for other people to kind of see. And I don't want to act like I'm the be-all, know-it-all of whatever. I'm literally just some broke student in my basement, so don't act like I know everything. But going back to Unus Annus, I feel like Unus Annus had reinforced for younger generations that YouTube isn't just about making money and just measuring your worth, and especially your creative worth, by success. Unus Annus was a creative project. They made whatever they want, and they said it from the beginning. It wasn't about money, wasn't about clout, it was to teach people some lessons. That sounds very menacing, in a good way. I promise, in a good way. Although some people did compare it to a cult, which is, I'm not gonna say they were wrong. But as long as you had something that you were proud of, that you put effort into, and you're happy with the outcome, it gives you some kind of personal fulfillment. I feel like Unus Annus reinforced that that's truly what matters. If you're passionate about something, good on you, because you're doing it right. I feel like Unus Annus kind of brought us back to the glory days of YouTube, where creators made stuff because they liked to make stuff. And once they started getting paid, it didn't turn into something where you're only on YouTube to make money. It was, you could do something creative, but now you have a source of income to encourage you to keep doing that. I think it's something that's very important about YouTube, but sometimes we forget about it, which is really sad. And to take a step away from YouTube to just projects in general, creative or maybe a little bit more uncommon, I like the concept where you're dedicating yourself for a short period of time, but you're gonna sink a lot of time into that. I think that 365 days is a little intense for some people. I mean, for some creatives and for some people, that's what they need. For some people, you have to have a life at some point, and having that commitment would be too much. Honestly, when I think of the idea of just getting something done, putting a whole bunch of effort with it, and then not touching it again, or at least for a very long time, I think back to my experience with like science fairs and science projects back when I used to enter in those. I would not touch it for a very long time, mainly because I procrastinated, but then I would work on it for a span of 3 months. I would sink in, that's the only thing I would do, and then afterwards I wouldn't touch it for another year, and it would be a different project. And I didn't even think about the correlation until I was actually writing this script. But I think for a lot of people who are procrastinators, like me, just putting a bunch of time into it and not touching it for a bit, taking a break. I feel like that is a concept that a lot of people can get onto, and I think it could be very beneficial. As well, I have been one who is very prone to career crises. I like a lot of things, and a lot of those things don't really seem to have kind of this interconnection that would make it work for me. And, you know, I'm going into a bachelor's of science. I like science, but at the same time, I really like the arts. Having something like Unus Annus, where the whole point for Mark, Ethan, Amy, the editors, everybody behind the scenes, that was to do something that they wouldn't normally have the chance to do. It was this side project, but it was a self-fulfilling side project. I think that a lot of people can use that, where maybe they're in a career or something in their life just doesn't let them dedicate their whole career to doing this one project. But on the side, you can still make it work. I mean, of course, the whole dedicating yourself for like a whole lot of time, even though it's a short period of time, isn't gonna work for everyone. Not everyone's situation is going to allow for that. But I think still the beauty is that you could choose however much time you want to spend on it. It could be a day, and that's all you do for one day. And even though it might be a smaller project, it's a project that you can say, hey, look, I'm done. Or it could be a week. Dedicate yourself for a week, take a break for a few months, maybe go back to it afterwards. Oh God, am I becoming one of those motivational hustlers? Oh God, no. Oh no. Uh-oh.
I'm in danger.
And I know I've been talking a lot about creativity, and I'm putting my own opinion out there of what I think is creative, what isn't creative. At the end of the day, creativity is in the eye of the beholder. I feel like you could change that out from beauty, right? I don't know. I'm just making stuff out from the middle of nowhere. But at the end of the day, it's up to every person, I guess, to determine what's creative and what isn't. Personally, I think creativity exists on a range. There's things that can have different levels of creativity. I don't know. I'm not a fine art student, and honestly, I don't want to start a 2-hour conversation with my dad about what makes good art and what makes living room wall art. So take it with a grain of salt, man. I mean, could it have been better? Yeah, a lot of things could be better. Hindsight's 20/20. But their goals were, we're gonna make something new every day, can't be the same thing, and we're gonna upload every single day. And I think that they accomplished all of those goals. I personally feel like they went above and beyond. I don't know, I always set my expectations low, so I'm never disappointed. But the amount of effort they put into it, you can even tell during the live stream of, first of all, how tired they were, but just how fulfilled they were with that side project. And with some kind of side project where that was the goal, just put in some creative stuff, see what happens, and if you feel good about it, that's what you're looking for. That sentence did not make sense. Long story short, they were happy with what they made, it was creative, and it worked. It worked. I really hope that the channel's impact continues to live on for people. Unus Annus was a very extreme example of dedicating yourself to something for a very short period of time and just giving your all. But by having that very extreme scenario, I think it proves that if it can be done on that scale, it can really be done on any kind of scale underneath that. And I think, again, that speaks volumes to what they did. If I didn't see it on that scale, I probably wouldn't have been motivated to try that a little bit more with stuff that I do. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing the whole thing of like 365 days, something more toned down, but you get the point. But I've been rambling on about how much I love Unus Annus for way too long, and I'm on like page 6 of this script right now, so I just need to like really wrap it up. Overall, this year was a wild year for Unus Annus. I feel like they really made the best of their situation. I really feel that this showed the importance of having a creative safe space and the benefits to the creative process in a whole. I feel that this shed light on why it's important to take a step back from the business side and to just go back to YouTube's roots, creating for the love of creating. I don't want to sound all doom and gloom by saying, you know, oh, these days all these YouTubers are just making videos about money. Obviously not. There are some really great creative projects happening. But when something blows up that much, where 1.5 million people were watching the deletion of that channel and getting that message across, I think is a great breath of fresh air from some of the other things that can sometimes bombard people's feeds. Unus Annus was able to bring a whole lot of strangers together on a wild ride, and I think they brought some great messages across. Just the fact that like this hasn't been done before, and deleting your channel, God, that takes a lot of, I don't know what to call it. It takes a whole lot of something to do it, because that is 365 days, over 365 videos of effort that's just gone. But oh my God, that is going to leave one hell of a legacy. I truly believe that no one could have pulled it off like them, and to that, a huge congratulations, and not even a congratulations to just the people on camera, because obviously Mark and Ethan did a lot of work, but Amy, oh my god, the mastermind behind everything, their editors, Lixian, Vincent, Mark, Rachel, all the people behind the camera. You had Evan, the people who made it possible by inviting them out, well, not necessarily inviting them out, but dealing with them on the drum date, having them out at the farm, that kind of stuff. All of those people made this channel possible, and just one huge thank you. I think that this has inspired a lot of different people. It's left a big impact on a lot of people, and that effort has not gone unnoticed. This is literally the definition of you didn't have to do it, but thank you so much for doing it. We could have gone on living our own little lives and we would have never known the idea. And like, I know they're not gonna see this, but I just wanted to like throw this out into the abyss of the internet. Honestly, this was just an excuse for me to gush about Unus Annus because I haven't really been able to talk to anyone about how much I love this project. You know, the one downside to staying at home all the time is you only have so many people to talk to. Like myself, so, and apparently talking to yourself isn't good, so. Also, my neck still really hurts from sitting through almost the entirety of that live stream, so if anyone's got any like personal masseuses, any like tips, that would be greatly appreciated. I really hope that you guys like more of kind of a serious video. This is something that the minute I got out of the shower after watching that live stream, I knew I wanted to talk about. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, whatever, maybe share it around, that'd be really awesome. Did you agree with my take? What did you take away from Unus Annus? What was the message that you probably liked the most? And if you were around for Unus Annus, what was your favorite part? I know the title said something like how it changed YouTube, and even though it's gonna be more like how it will change YouTube, I'm not gonna apologize for channeling my inner Philip DeFranco. Anyways. Oh wait, hold on, that's the wrong way, I need it this way. Memento Mori.